All right, good evening. So this is a committee of the whole meeting, and we're considering this a special committee of the whole meeting, and it's about 6:10. We do have an agenda in front of us. I am just going to ask if the board would be willing for us to take the approval of the minutes and the review of the referral tracking sheet, which is actually number 2, and move that and to after we receive the presentation, which is our number 3 item. So are people in most agreement of that?
Sure.
Okay, thank you. What makes this a really great meeting, and I just wanted to say thank you to all of our town colleagues who have come out to look at the rendering of the drawings. I don't want to make this too cumbersome, but there was a request that maybe it would be really nice for the people that are sitting around on the edges to also introduce themselves, because many of them are either our town councilors or representative town meetings. And so that would be very swell, because this is being videotaped, and it would be nice for people to know that there are so many committed individuals in our community. So Mayor Katowski, if you would Katowski, sorry about that. Oh my goodness. Wow, Patrice.
You got
on so many levels. I'm so
40% of it, right?
Hi, I'm Patrice Granatowski, I'm the mayor of the town. Thank you for having us here this evening to do a presentation.
Yep, absolutely.
I'm David Atwater, Town Council.
Jim Gustafson, RTM District 6.
Rachel Franco, Town Council.
Joan Johnson, stenographer.
Hi, I'm Annie Rogers, RTM District 6.
Portia Bordelon, District 2, RTM.
Conrad Heath, Town Council.
John Burt, Town Manager.
Mike Whitney, RTM District 5.
Craig Kohler, Citizen at Large.
Really Jolly from the new newspaper.
Scott Houston, RTM District 7.
Awesome, great. And so, as it's been alluded to, this is actually going to be, I think, the first presentation, first full presentation of the design for the middle school plan. So outside of being the MC of the evening, and once again, the purpose of having this presentation is so that the board, we can really be exposed to the designs and what the architect are thinking, because we will be having a special vote, and that's going to be January 7th, where we then say absolutely, and we're going to move that to the town council. And Mayor, when do you guys vote on the plan?
The council doesn't vote on the plan.
On the plan.
There's a letter just relaying the plans to the council.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, it'll be reported out to the council.
Oh, it'll be reported out, sorry. Well, then so the board, we're the ones that will have the vote on how we see the plan. And then I wanted to make sure that we got exposure to it as many times as possible. Also just another note, that this is not necessarily a public meeting, but I do know that probably our RTM or anyone that's in this room might have questions, and I just would hope that one of the board members would just recognize the person so that they could speak, because once again, this is not a public meeting, but there might be questions that might be helpful for the permanent school board members to hear, and the architect to hear as well. Does that seem like that's fair? Awesome. All right. So who do I pass the baton on to?
Pass it to the chair of the Permanent School Building Committee.
All right.
For those of you who don't know me, I'm Bob Austin LaFrance, and I am the chairman of the Permanent School Building Committee, which has been meeting pretty feverishly now for the last year or so. And we'd like to thank you for letting us show you what we've been up to. And so if we can move to the next slide.
Can you use the microphone?
Skid marks. So, just as a quick review, the construction documents for this have been completed now. We've got them all ready to go up to the state for their final review. The project is currently within budget and, amazingly enough, after a 3-month hiatus, on schedule. The timeline that you see sitting out here at the moment indicates the joint meeting of the Board of Ed, PSBC, and the Town Council today at 12:10. We're looking by the 7th of January for Board of Education approval of the plans. The Permanent School Building Committee will then certify to the town that those plans meet the education specs no later than the 10th. We have a special meeting for that. And then they're going up to the state for final plan review on the 15th. We expect to hear back from the state no later than the 25th of January. And if that's the case, then we'll be able to go out to bid as soon as we get that word from the state. The plan at the moment, which you want to keep in mind, is that we would like to start construction no later than the 25th of March in order to get this thing completed on time. So we have a very tight window, and the architects and all the folks at the administration and the board of, the education administration, Dr. Grenier and his people have been wonderful in helping us figure out what we want to do with this space and how to make it as flexible and usable as we can possibly do it within the budget. So I'm going to hand it over to, oh, look at that. That's the next, we'll do that, we'll come back to that one. That's at the end. So I'm going to hand this over to Amy Samuelson, who is with SLAM Cooperative, who are the architects for this particular project. And she's going to take you through the building.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you all for inviting us. I'm here today with Kemp Morhart, who's the principal in charge of the project, and he and I will be happy to answer any of your questions following the presentation. So this is the site of the future consolidated middle school. You'll note that it's really at the corner of Fort Hill, which runs in this direction in this drawing, and Groton Long Point Road, which is right here. So that's that corner with the triangle that you're all accustomed to. And here's the neighboring church, and Fitch High School is about where this red pointer is off of the page. But we're really happy that this middle school will become a part of the Fitch campus and really allow you to share resources between those two very important schools in your district. So two entrances to the new middle school are proposed. One will be through the Fitch High School parking lot, and that's in order to allow you to share buses and for the buses to continue to come off of Groton Long Point Road in the same way that they do today. And they'll enter from Fitch onto the new site of the new consolidated middle school here. We've got a bus loop on this portion on the west side, east side of the building. And then the other entrance is off of Fort Hill Road, and you'll see that that shares the El Grasso Technical School driveway at a point about a little ways up the hill of El Grasso. You'll find a new entrance to the site, and it meanders across the site because of the steep grade change from here to where the building is located. It takes a route around the hillside and up to the location where the middle school will be built. So the middle school is situated in such a way that the second floor is the entrance level on the east side of the building. And because it nestles down into the hillside, the lowest level or first floor is where you access the building from the west side. So the entrances on either side of the building are actually on two different floors, but they're connected by a main concourse that you'll see in our interior renderings as we move forward. Zooming in on the site plan a little, I wanted to share with you some of the site circulation. So again, from the Fitch High School side, you're passing, I should have mentioned, the athletic fields that will be included as a part of this project. So I'm going to go back and let you know that there's a large full-size field for athletic events, a smaller field, and a softball field included in the project. So zooming in again, the site circulation is that the buses will come from Fitch High School and pull up and around and drop off at this main entrance on the second level. And parent drop-off will come from the Fort Hill Road entrance and be directed this way and drop off at this lower level. This lower level will also be where the administration is housed and where all visitors will enter. So for security reasons, all doors will be locked to the school, including this upper entrance, and all visitors will be directed to the lower level. So during school hours. So for events, you'll want to use this parking lot to access the fields and the gymnasium and some other public spaces within the building. This is an image of the entry of the building on the west side. So again, it's the lowest level and main entrance to the building. You'll be greeted on that side with a 4-story wing of the building, which is the academic tower. So the first floor is administration, and then above is the academic classes. And here's the first floor plan. Entrance is at this location, central to the building, and there's a locked vestibule for security where there will be a sign-in and a window to the reception area. So all visitors will be badged at this location, and then you'll be allowed to enter into the waiting room or pass through to the school proper. In dark blue here is the administration, the guidance department, and the nurse's office and school-based health clinic. Also on that same corridor are some mechanical rooms that are buried into the hillside, and some other rooms that are daylit, which include the couple of special ed rooms, multi-disability room, and the ABA room. On the south portion of the building, we call this the podium level. There's a mixture of visual and performing arts surrounding the open cafeteria. So the cafeteria is really the heart of the building, and it allows people to pass through on their way to band, orchestra, chorus rehearsal, or to drama class. And it also acts as a wonderful place for gatherings for the building. And I'll share with you in the next few slides how dynamic this space down here can be. Along the front portion of the building are a makerspace and engineering lab that speak to your STEM focus in this building. And there's an AV production studio and graphic arts lab in the rear. And then also at the front with generous windows are the art studios. Performance spaces can be held in many spaces within the building. We have a lot of flexibility built in here, and there's a studio theater. It's essentially a black box theater that you might have seen in other facilities. It's a new asset that Groton will be able to use. The students from Fitch might want to use this, but we know that it's a great asset for this building as well. So that room during the day will be used for choral rehearsals and for drama classes, but then as you can see with risers, it can become a nice performance space in many different configurations. So you can use the risers in this way, or with a thrust stage, or as a theater in the round. So we think it'll be a really dynamic space. Along the wall here, oops, got ahead of myself. So along this wall of the studio theater, you'll see that there's what I've designated with a yellow line. That's a skyfold partition. It's a large 30-foot wide opening that rises like an overhead door, and it opens up to the neighboring room, which is a small performance room. So this is the studio theater that we were just looking at, and then you could put the risers instead into this other space, and when that demising door rises, you actually get a nice, very large performance space. Those same risers can be set up as a flat platform and can become a platform for the orchestra to perform, where another wall opens up So this back one could be closed, and this other one could open up to the cafeteria. And that one allows for a good audience seating of 270 people. And then configured in a different direction, close that door, put the risers at the south end of the cafeteria, and you end up with a nice performance space for about 370 or 365 audience members. So we're really excited about that space, and I hope that it's something that really gets used in all sorts of different fashions. I look forward to hearing about that. The second floor entrance on the Fitch side, again, the east side of the building, is a totally different scale. And we expect that most students will be arriving by bus or having a view from Fitch and entering the site in this direction. And you'll note that the height of the building on this side of the building is really 1 and maybe 2 stories where the gymnasium pops up here. But it's a much more smaller scale, welcoming, and we hope correct and fun entrance for the students. Those students will enter the building here at the west end of the building, this main concourse, which travels down, and you can actually see down with a railing into the cafeteria below. So a grand stair will take you from the main entrance at the west side down to the cafeteria for those performances that I was just describing. But it also allows you to have quick access to the Library Media Center and to the phys ed department, which includes a movement studio, a fitness room, and the gymnasium itself. Locker rooms and associated support spaces are also in that same area on the second floor. The building can be zoned, thank you, Kim, for security reasons. We never really want the public to enter into the classroom wings. So for after-hours events, when the public is invited into the space and they might travel down this corridor, there are doors here which close off this academic wing that I mentioned in the first slide. So the academic wing includes your standard academic classes and also your science lab, a couple of special ed spaces, and a faculty workroom for support. So on every floor, which can be set up 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, or it can be set up in teams. There are 3 pods of classrooms on each floor and a pod of science labs. So you could instead do 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade on one floor. So again, flexibility built into the plan, and it allows for your pedagogy to develop as you move into the building. But again, that would be zoned, and if the public is coming in for an event at the gymnasium or they're invited for a basketball game, doors would separate this area of the building from the remainder, or doors here would separate the cafeteria and lower performance spaces from the academic wing. So trying to keep the most flexibility and the most use of the building in mind while also allowing for the appropriate security. The 3rd floor is represented here. You'll notice that the academic wing is really repeated from the floor below, though the academy classroom is also on this floor. And the 4th floor, again, one and the same, so that each grade or each team can have the same configuration. So that's the 4th floor you're seeing here. Shot from above. This is the main entrance side, and an aerial from the other direction from the Fitch side or bus entry. Correct. This is the box here with a sloped roof is the gymnasium. And actually, if I go back, it's hard to tell. There are windows into the gymnasium, so there is some natural daylight in there. Daylight's really important to us, so we've tried to develop that, and you'll see as we move through the interior spaces that you'll notice that that's an important feature throughout the building. The interiors, vast majority of the interior is really set up with this palette of neutral colors. So a warm wood tone and some very neutral colors for the floors and walls of the building is your majority of the school. And then we've splashed in some color for wayfinding and for, just a nice amount of color and accent walls and things, tile in the rest of the building. So the way it's been designed, we really thought about nature and the ocean, the earth, the sky, and the heavens above, or maybe the sun. So as you move up the building, you're going from first floor, second floor, third floor, and fourth floor. Each one's designated with a color so that it's easy to recognize where you are in the building when you're getting on and off the elevator or the stairs. The cafeteria has been developed, as we mentioned, as the heart of the building, and food service takes place in one portion, and then the main seating is here in color. You'll notice that there are sawtooth clerestory windows above, so this is, although it's on the first level and it's sort of buried into the center of the building, there's a lot of natural daylight that you'll be able to enjoy in this space. Oh, thanks. So beyond, you can see this peak. This is the concourse that brings you to the second floor public spaces, and also from the second floor parking lot allows the public and invited guests into the cafeteria area. I should mention also that for durability, the walls are brick, tile, and other durable materials at the lower level. And then as you move up, the painted gypboard is really covered with acoustic material. And so while it will be a large space, we also know that we need to control some of that noisy. This is the concourse. As you enter from the bus entrance, the Library Media Center is to your left. And again, you see a peak of the colors in the floor pattern, but the vast majority is either wood or brick or painted block, concrete block for durability for the walls. Inside the Library Media Center, there's flexible furniture. There's, of course, the stacks, but we have high stacks against the walls, and in the center we have low stacks for visibility, so you can see that here. And the ceiling treatment has acoustic clouds, and also some of those are lit. So they are the light fixtures as well as the control for acoustics. The elevator lobby is also the location where the bathrooms are on every floor, and where the entrance to the academic wing is. And on each side of the elevator lobby, you'll see that there's views. So at one end of the academic classroom corridor, there's windows, and also at the side entrance on the third and fourth floors. So this is looking out toward Fitch. In the academic corridor, of course, you'll find the lockers, but we also find that it's important to have daylighting in there. So although it's in the center of the building, we've got windows that go from the classroom to the corridor, and so it allows you to borrow that natural light from the exterior within the classrooms into the corridor, so that you'll see windows above. But those are carefully placed for security reasons, for lockdown, and so you get the daylight, but you also get the security. The door has a narrow light, as do most classroom doors, so you can see out and make sure you're not hitting someone when you open the door. But you'll notice that natural light is actually on the hinge side, or that narrow light, This way, if an intruder was in the school and they broke the glass, they wouldn't be able to reach the door handle. So it's just these little built-in security features that we're trying to implement as we go throughout without making it feel like a prison. Yeah, for lack of a better word. So, classrooms, science labs, they'll have the accent color that's representative of what floor you're on. So in this case, it's the 3rd floor. But you'll see that the built-in casework for the science labs, and in the classroom, the furniture is very flexible. It's a series of desks that can be put together in groups or can be taken apart, can be set up like this for a seminar, but allows for the teacher to set it up as they'd like. And there's some choice, so that there's a round table and some choice of seating. That's all for this show. I just need to step over to the computer to turn it on.
Thanks, Amy. I'll take the opportunity to thank you all for having us here today, and I hope you're all excited as we are for such a great design. We're thrilled how it's come together. My name is Kemp Morehart from the Slime Collaborative. As Amy mentioned, I am the principal in charge for this project, and we've been working very diligently over the past 5 months. And yes, it's only been 5 months, hard to believe. But we're all thrilled with the way the design has come out, and I hope you are too.
And the last bit of the presentation is a video of the outside of the school.
So strap your seatbelts on. So this is the... You can see the sawtooth over the cafeteria. Moving around to the keyboards.
That's right.
The keyboard. Love that. I think that is so cool.
The new windows are intentionally like a keyboard.
This will be the bus drop-off sign. To the gymnasium.
And then there's that space in there too. The kids are designing in math class an outdoor STEM classroom for this space.
Oh, excellent.
And they want to see it to fruition. So they've got a couple different plans. For that corridor? That corridor, some of them chose that and some chose other areas that are out in the outside part of the building.
Thank you very much. So
Thank you. That concludes the presentation.
Open to questions.
Happy to answer any questions.
Andre, could you turn on the
Let's
light?
go to the last slide. Which is the first, second.
There is more chairs back here if you guys would like.
Jay?
Rita?
Oh, yeah. If you can plug in for that, do that. That would be great.
One last image before we go to Bob's closing.
You're going to say one more thing.
You can introduce yourself while it's running.
My name is Jack Butkus. I'm a program manager with Arcadis, and we're assisting the town with all 3 of the projects for the 2020 plan. And one of the tools that we've used on other projects is, again, you've seen the fly around, and you've seen the site plan. But what is this really going to do within the neighborhood? And so we've got a little before and after. Don't have all the site features like the sports fields rendered in, but go.
So over on the left, you can see St. Mary's Church here.
St. Mary's here and Fitch in the background, the existing Grosso.
Currently is getting torn down at El Grosso.
And although I think this has an automated opportunity, whoops,
Maybe not.
twitchy technology. We'll do it the old-fashioned way. And just pull it across. Come on. from solid woods, which is essentially a solid mass of trees, to our site. So as you see, it'll be roughly similar orientation to the Grosso building as far as the north-south axis. And then this area, which is open, the open fields of the Merritt Farm. This area here in the darker green is the wetland that is going to be preserved and avoided by construction. The softball field will be up here in the area where the Merritt House exists, the smaller practice field here centrally, and the larger sports field down here close to where we will tie in to the Fitch driveway. This is going to be reconfigured slightly in this area of parking here for the buses, and parents will move up to the front portion of the Fitch. Right now the buses drop off here. That'll be converted to parent drop, and then the bus loop will come into this back area here and through this side parking lot that is at the rear of St. Mary's Church. There will be an access way cut through the trees at that point that leads into this loop drive and into the campus. Yes?
Okay, I have just two questions. One, if I were getting married on a Saturday afternoon in that church, and there's a soccer game going on, how rude are we being to the church? Like, is it, like, are we far enough away that this isn't going to, like, some bride is not going to be cursing us somewhere?
We do have screening requirements in the town plan. There's a significant wooded buffer right now. We need to complete that buffer.
Will the wedding video include cheering from a crowd?
I don't think so.
Is it an
because
outdoor
it's,
wedding?
Indoors, because I've been there, and you can't
Depends
hear
how
stuff
popular
from
the
the high
bride is.
school.
Well, they are close to the high school, they're much closer to the high school, I
Yeah,
think.
but they're not next to the athletic fields. So I was just thinking of that. The other thing is, at one of the newer schools in Waterford, the parent pickup drop-off area, somehow they must have all thought everybody drives subcompacts. Because we're all in minivans, and it's like, it's the scariest thing I do every day is pick those children up from that school. Because there's no, are we planning on, you know?
Are you talking about parking spaces?
Parent-sized parking spaces.
Right. So the parent drop-off loop will be standard parking spaces, like you would find at a car. I mean, at a
Shopping
store
center
or
or
shopping
something.
Okay, so
center,
they're not,
yeah.
you're going to make sure
They're not
there's enough
compact.
space that when you back up, you can actually get.
And again, this
Right.
being a middle school.
Following the standards that the town puts forth.
The parental approach will be to come up the drive from Grosso, come into the loop here and around to the front, to the curb of the building, pick up the students and then exit out. So the queue will be in the roadway and looping around, as opposed to an elementary school where you're parking, dropping your child off or walking them into the classroom, as the case may be with a kindergartner. So given the fact that we are a middle school age group, I think that traffic situation will be less congested.
and the parking spaces are 9 by 18 feet, which is the town standard, which you'll see all over town. So they're normal, if you want to call those normal size spaces.
As long as it can fit in a minivan, that'd be nice.
Rita?
I had a couple of questions. My first is, what is this school being built for? How many students?
947.
And is there room for expansion anywhere on the grounds if more students move into Groton?
Yes, there is.
Should leave your picture up, Jack.
Well, we're going to put,
Jack,
I would like to go back to the site plan.
Yeah, go back to the site, because we can show you where.
Showed exactly where.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
Expansion was one of the concepts that we had very much in mind, and so as someone will show us now.
You can see it on
The wings are
rendering.
designed, the wing is designed
Right here.
with phenomenal space beyond it that could be
That's great.
used to build new after the fact.
Okay.
That was planned even to the point of, where do the utilities enter the building? Where's the generator going to sit on site? Things like that were coordinated to allow that expansion.
And are how many students per classroom?
that's not for us to say. That's for the Board of Ed to make a determination on.
Well, what have the architects deemed as the classroom size? Because the classrooms at Fitch High School, the new academic area, the classrooms are very small. And I was curious, I know the state has limitations on the class size. Is that going to be influenced by the states?
I believe the basis of the programming was 24 students per classroom. And
Just 24?
yeah.
That's
But
very,
I think
that's
we
very
also-
small.
We also accounted for contract maximum, which I think is 27, right?
Correct.
But so they can accommodate up to 27, but, you know, the basis of our planning was 24.
Right.
And are
And
there
the
any
state-
culinary arts classrooms? Are going to be any stoves or a kitchen area for students to access for culinary arts classes?
There's not a culinary arts program that was in your ed spec. So we responded directly to the ed spec spaces that were envisioned for the school. There is a classroom that includes a stove, refrigerator, and dishwasher that's within the multi-disability room.
Okay.
So student access at that one location. Otherwise, just faculty access.
And another thing at the Fitch, when it was built, added on to, the handicap accessibility parking was very limited and not in a good place. So are you addressing this?
So this school is being built ground up, and I'm sure that when adding on to Fitch, they were wrestling with some existing conditions. Here, because it's a new building, all of the state standards will be met. The closest parking spaces will be those for handicap accessibility, and to the correct percentage of parking spaces to handicap parking spaces that's required by the state.
And will there be buttons on the doors?
There will be buttons on the main entrance and the upper main entrance.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Andrea?
Exactly how far is it from the new middle school to Fitch?
Oh, boy.
That's a good question. It's probably about 800 feet or so.
Let's just say about 300 yards. Yeah. So you're pretty close.
Yeah.
It looks much further away, doesn't it?
Yes.
I have lots of questions.
That's okay. Great.
The teaching thing. So I grasp classroom space. Lockers, are they big enough to do it? Like, there will be times where these kids come in with boots and hats and coats and instruments. Are the lockers going to be big enough to handle the kids bringing stuff to school and putting it in the locker?
Sure. So small instruments the students will probably keep in their lockers.
You're probably not putting a cello in one.
But the large instruments, we have a large instrument storage room
Yeah. Okay, I was gonna
built
ask
in
about that.
next to the band, which is a very robust program. So we were very impressed with your music department. And you do have a large instrument storage room. But the lockers will be 18 inches by 15 inches and 3.5 feet high. So they're half height. So traditional lockers, when I was going to school, were about 9 inches wide, maybe 6 inches wide, but they were full height. And so what we find today, our kids' backpacks are wider. So it's nicer to give a more generous direction, width and depth. And the height of the lockers are 2-tiered, so that there's up to 7 feet high total. And yeah, you'll see here.
Right, I just wanted to make sure that the width and the depth,
They're
you
wide.
could fit boots and with your coat. So, because I know at Fitch,
18 by
the
15.
kids don't put their coats in the lockers.
I have a middle school student who also doesn't use her locker, but that has nothing to do with whether or not it's provided.
How many kids do we have per wave in the cafeteria?
You have 3 waves for the cafeteria. So I think there's about 325 students per wave, but the seating fits 350.
That's an insane number of children.
It's a large space. It's a very large space.
Just going to run back to it.
There you go.
You showed the tier seating that you can bring in and out. What is it like to set that up? Is that gonna be?
So, it's not quite, I mean, it's on legs. It's like unfolding the legs of a table. But the tiers are provided as a part of the project, and so are those, the carts that they can be stored on and stacked up. And we've also assigned storage space. We have 3 storage rooms in the neighborhood of the studio theater. Some are designated for the props and the stage equipment, and others are designated for those risers, extra chairs that, so the chairs to the cafeteria will be shared by also for the theater seating and the riser seating.
I promise, I'm just going to get the board in, and then I'll have the board members recognize other people. Okay, thank you.
I'm particularly excited. We talked about this earlier, about the black box. And Fitch does not have one. But Fitch will be able to use the one in the middle school. And it's for much more intimate plays and things like that.
Right.
This is one of the most exciting things.
Oh, good.
Because
I'm glad
sometimes you can't fill the whole auditorium with people.
And actually vice versa.
Yes.
When the middle school has large performances, they'll go to the auditorium, and as you say, for smaller performances, plays, and so forth, the high school kids can use the black box.
It's great.
To give you an idea, one of the things that we really had to wrestle with was finding out that each of the middle schools has a music operation of 100 kids each. Now, there is nowhere in any school in this district where you could get all 200 kids in the same place to do a rehearsal or anything. So the way that this was all worked out was to allow as many of them to work together in their primary space as they could. And then if there was going to be a whole orchestra type of situation, that would most likely go on up at Fitch. But just looking at, 200 kids doing music was pretty amazing. It's like, how do you get the space to do that?
And the space for the parents to watch it.
Yeah.
So I would like, your hand has been up, so I'd love to recognize you for my term. Because there's some of us who are not going to be mic'd, I'm wondering that once this, if you could just paraphrase the question so that it can be picked up, that would be great.
Sure.
I'm just curious, 947 capacity, how does that correlate to the current total middle school population?
That's not a question for me.
No.
It's a little bit, it's a little bit lower. I think, is Peter, I'm not sure if Peter here. Oh, he did. I think there's about 970, 72 students right now. But when they say classrooms, could you talk a little bit about the total seats in the building? That it's for way more than 900.
1150.
There's seating for about 1,150 students.
Right. So the classroom seating will accommodate the entire student body or the design load of 947, but then with all the other spaces, all the other specialty spaces like the art rooms, the maker space, the band rooms, the music, so forth, there are over 1,150 seats in the building. So it can certainly accommodate a small increase in that enrollment. And as I mentioned earlier, the design planning was based around 24 students per classroom, because that's kind of an ideal, but they were sized to accommodate those classes to increase in size up to 27.
I'd like to recognize Rachel.
So let me just get this straight. SLAM is the architectural firm, is that correct? The state of Connecticut offers architectural plans. Was this based off of the plans that they offer, or is this a complete new design?
So I think you're referring to the standardized building design plans.
Right.
I'm not sure that they've been finalized yet, but I know that they are working toward something like that. These are not. These are a unique design to this school and this site.
As I was looking at, we have discussed at the council issues regarding flat roof. So I had seen on there was quite a bit of flat roof. Is there any way to pitch it? Is it going to be pitched? I mean, there's issues with leakage and things of that nature when it comes to flat roofs.
Okay. The flat roofs that you see that look like flat roofs, there's no flat roof. It's all pitched at a 1/4 inch per foot towards interior roof drains. They also have exterior, what we call scuppers, so overflow scuppers in case some of those drains get clogged. The water would run off over the edge, and then that alerts the maintenance crew that there's an issue that needs to be resolved. The roof has been spec'd to be warranted for 20 years, and that's part of the standard for the state. And I believe we have an alternate to maybe buy up to a 30-year warranty in the documents. So I think you shouldn't be too concerned about leaking roofs. It would be warranted.
Approximately, just say 10 years in, if there's a leak in the roof, it's going to be taken care of under warranty.
It's under warranty.
Okay, great to know. How many academic classrooms are there?
There are 9 academic classrooms per grade, so a total of 27 math, English, foreign language, and social studies. There are also 8 science labs. And then there are a number of additional spaces like the STEM-related spaces, like an engineering maker lab, which you could use as a science lab. So I think there's a lot of flexibility baked into the design. There are a couple of classrooms that are fit out with computers. We suspect that most often those will be used for specialty software, like graphic arts design, and the AV production studio has computers as well, and the Makerspace Engineering Lab.
And how many special ed rooms?
So there are a number of special ed rooms of all different sizes. There are the 3 large classrooms that are in multidisciplinary, ABA, and the academy. And then there are 3 medium-sized special ed classrooms, 1 per floor, mixed in with the academic wing. And then there are special ed offices and resource rooms. And so now you're really taxing me to remember the number off the top of my head, but I believe there are 2 resource rooms per floor if we go to the, yeah.
So we have the multidisability classroom and the ABA classroom on the lowest level. And we also
That's
have
associated with the OTPT room as well, separate room.
And can I go back, when you were talking about academic classrooms, art rooms, were those included in the numbers you were giving me?
No, there are 2 art rooms that are for graphic arts.
Okay.
So the resource rooms, you'll see them on the floor plan here, and I believe there are 4 of these. There might be 5. On one floor, those are there's administrative offices on the upper levels.
Yes, graphic art rooms. There's 2 graphic art.
the academy classroom on the
She said
second
graphic
floor.
arts.
Excuse me, the
Third floor.
That's what she said.
So special ed is in yellow in the plans.
Right, special ed's yellow. And so we have the resource rooms on each of the floors, so there are a total of 6. These are small tutoring type rooms. And
6
then,
students.
and then we have, which one is this?
That's the special ed classroom. There's
This
one.
special ed classroom.
And would foreign language be in part of the academic rooms?
Yes.
Part of the 27? All right, thank you.
Sure. I think now would be a good time to mention that the faculty workrooms are sized so that in the event that a classroom is shared by more than one teacher, each teacher does have their own space in the faculty workrooms, and there are faculty workrooms on each floor.
Those spaces are also set up so that multiple faculty members could work together on projects that they're bringing into a group of classes.
Rosemary, you have your.
I had 2 questions. What are the yellow stripes on the end of the building?
This here?
What are those?
That's a shaft.
That's a shaft. That shouldn't be yellow because that's misleading. I'm sorry.
Is it special ed shaft?
It's not. It allows for mechanical systems to travel from space, from floor to floor.
I'm curious about the potential for maybe solar panels on the roofs at some point. Is
Sure.
that something that could be factored in?
Absolutely. Solar is a great resource that can always be added. And so, you know, there's a lot of space on this roof, and that can certainly be added at any time.
And we're actually looking for infrastructure. We're going to put infrastructure in for the three sawtooth roofs area there.
That could be.
They're
They're
facing south,
yeah,
leaning
facing
south,
south.
so they're perfectly well suited for it.
Having gone to school there, there's a lot of wind.
Yes.
Is there potential for any sort of wind energy also?
We haven't designed wind power into the current plans, but it's, again, something that could be added by the district and supplement the energy that's provided.
We looked at a number of alternate plans, including geothermal, wind.
That was my next.
That was the next one. The issue with all of those is the upfront cost. I'm sorry. The issue with most of those is the upfront cost, especially with geothermal, and the projections for return on investment were outside of the 20-year range that we're looking at with, you know, state reimbursement and whatnot, and most of those are not reimbursable as well. So while we're trying as hard as we can to make the building something that can accept alternate energy possibilities in the future, with the exception of the ice and whatnot that we'll be using for cooling that we've used effectively at Fitch at the moment, this is relatively standard. One of the things that we are doing differently in this building, and I'm going to mention it, we're using active chilled beams for the cooling and heating as opposed to active chilled beams. And so the heating and cooling should be marvelously more efficient and much more effective than what we've seen in many of the other buildings around.
That's right. Please, if you.
No, there's a woman behind you that had a question.
Oh,
Yes.
My question was actually about the heating and cooling system. So I guess just an add-on to that, were you able to realize any benefits by, what was that mean? By, you know, its placement sort of within the hillside? Are there efficiencies there?
Could
that
you
we'll be
please
able to
repeat? Sure, I'll repeat the question. So are there efficiencies built into the building because it's built into the hillside? And the answer there is yes. And then also, you asked about the mechanical systems. And so as Bob mentioned, the chilled beams will be heating and full air conditioning for the building. So it'll be quite comfortable and it'll be very efficient. There is ice storage on site, so the chillers that cool the building for the air conditioning, you'll make ice and store it, and then the chillers utilize that ice for cooling rather than a chemical. That you make the ice at night when electricity is off-peak, and so less expensive, and then you would draw on that ice that's already stored during the day, in the heat of the day. And that Connecticut High Performance requires this building to be LEED Silver equivalent, and so we're tracking that as we move through the whole design, and as we progress through construction, we'll continue to track that, and we'll make sure that the building meets or exceeds the Connecticut High Performance standards. And so if you're familiar with the LEED standards for buildings, that's silver or above is what's required. And we plan to exceed that. And so we have a lot of features built in. The other thing that I want to mention is the quality of the exterior of the building. The building envelope, the amount of insulation at the roof level and in the walls will really be your first line of defense and the way to maintain a very efficient mechanical system. So that's where we put a lot of our effort.
Two questions. It's built into the side of the hill.
She's going to repeat the question.
It's built into the side of the hill. Are you doing anything with the groundwater to redirect it so that we don't have water issues? And second, can you talk about the doors and the windows? Are they bullet resistant, heat resistant?
You want to take the stormwater?
Sure. Yes, there is.
So if you can repeat the
Oh,
question.
the question was, by building the building into the hill, are we managing the groundwater? And then the second question was, how are we treating the windows and doors as far as force resistance and/or hurricane resistance? And we'll talk about both of those. So yes, the site does have some fairly high groundwater, so we are managing that. Our geotechnical report has given us guidance on what we need to do, so we will have full foundation drainage system as well as a sub-slab drainage system. So we will mitigate any groundwater coming into the building. As far as the doors and windows, Amy can talk a little bit about the SSIC, which is the School Security Infrastructure Council's guidelines on how we managed the security aspect of the doors and windows. But from the hurricane resistance, which we need to comply with by code in this region, we've included that into all of the windows around the entire building. They are all hurricane resistant glazing.
So that puts you already with a step ahead in your glazing. So all of the glass on the building is laminated glass, which is very durable and also part and parcel to the security guidelines because it is damage resistant. I can't say bulletproof because it's not rated for that. It hasn't been tested for that, I should say. But it will certainly delay someone trying to get into the building because a hammer won't do it. The doors and windows at the ground level, in particular around the entries, are treated with a higher level of glazing. And so I don't know how much detail I should get into in a public meeting, but they are treated.
One of the things that I'm not seeing on the exterior is basketball hoops. That's, I know one thing that at West Side they use a lot. That was my first question. And my second was, currently the Fitch High School, it might be for other people, utilize the Cutler Middle School baseball field for their freshmen. That's kind of in a lot of need of help. And I see a softball field here, but I'm not seeing a baseball field replicated. So I'm not sure if there's room to add that, or they might answer when we remodel the elementary school. Maybe that's in the plan down there. Also, the structure, the materials, and the upkeep. Are these going to be able to be maintained by our current maintenance crew? I mean, the more sophisticated we get, we add scaffolds and all these soundproofing things. Long-term structure and durability. Also, mold prevention, which is another major issue. Making sure that the building can be maintained adequately by, an average district that don't have the specialty. With all the climate control things in place.
So as far as durability goes, I'm going to answer that one quick first. We've worked with Sam and his staff throughout the design of the project, and most of the materials are things that you're accustomed to having in the district. There's a lot of brick. There's cast stone, which is very durable. And there are metal panels at some key locations where we show color, for example, on the building. But these are all durable materials that will last a lifetime. And the roof, as mentioned, is warranted for 20 years, and we suspect it will last longer because we're also adding on an additional 10-year warranty. So interior, we've worked hard to either have abuse-resistant gypboard in the locations where there are gypboard walls, drywall walls, and in other locations, in particular in the gymnasium area, in the locker rooms, they're concrete block, which will be painted similar to other schools that you're accustomed to. And the corridors are either brick, lockers, so the lockers protect the walls, or abuse-resistant drywall just around the doors.
One of the nice things about this is because of the HVAC system that's in place, we're kind of anticipating that mold is not going to be an issue. The ambient controls are going to be such that the building will remain at a particular humidity and temperature for most of its existence.
And the basketball hoops, the exterior,
That's on a list. We're also developing a list of items that don't necessarily fall in the educational specifications, but would be nice to have items. That's one of the things on the list at this point.
Could you speak to the size of the gym? How large is the gym?
Sure.
Is there any seating capacity in the gym for spectators?
Please repeat the question.
Yes, the size of the gym and seating capacity. The size of the gym is a middle school gym. I'm sorry, full-size high school gym, so it's got a full-size high school basketball court with 10 feet on all surrounding sides, and there are bleachers for 250 spectators with telescoping bleachers.
Andrew?
I have two questions.
Please speak into the mic.
I have two questions. One is really for clarification. I couldn't have heard you say that there's no art room. Did I hear that?
Oh, no, there are.
No. There are 2 art rooms.
I heard 2 graphic arts, but I didn't hear 2 art rooms.
There are 2 what we would term general art rooms.
General, all right, okay.
With storage
Right
between.
here and here, with storage in between.
And a kiln room.
I misheard, that's fine.
Okay. The
And-
graphic arts room is up here.
One thing that's not on this plan is there is also an outdoor area right here outside the art classrooms, so there can be like an outdoor studio as well. It's a small patio area.
That's my second question.
You can see it.
Can you speak to that, please?
So these windows here are the windows that are associated with the 2 art rooms, and there's a nice little patio area. Sorry. So these 2 window sets are related to the 2 art rooms. This is the in-between room for makerspace. And there's a patio area out here that can be used. This is all windows, so they have a lot of light, a lot of visual stuff. And in nice days, they can take the easels outside and draw and do whatever else they might like to do there. There is no garage door.
But my question, then my follow-up question is, I wanted to, and I think Rita mentioned the outdoor spaces. How, I know this is a public meeting, but how on earth are you going to protect kids when they're outside drawing or whatever they're doing out there?
It's a legitimate question, and I'm not sure that the kids will ever actually be out there, but the space is available for the light to come in and visually see what's going on. It's a difficult question. I mean, one of the nice things about this site is that 2/3 of it is wooded. I would definitely love to see some trails in there so that the kids in biology could walk through the paths, some of the ponds and the trees, and make use of the space that way as well as a learning center. And I guess that'll come down to the superintendent and Board of Ed determining how they can safely do these types of things, or if they can at all.
And I'll just add to that, that there's the door that accesses the art rooms is really off of the corridor, and it is controlled by card reader lock. So the appropriate staff will be badged to go in and out there, but otherwise that door remains locked. That's the same condition that would happen for PE classes when the students go out to play on the fields. So in an oversight condition, it's up to the district to determine how they want to handle that. But, you have that example happening in your PE classes every day. And so why not in art, so. Recess, yeah.
Well,
Not in middle school, yeah.
I want to go back to middle school.
Outdoor time is
I think they should have.
but as a part of the security as a part of the security features, you also have a lot of electronic security built into this school. So there's video surveillance at the entries on the site, as well as at the doors. And then within the school, there's video surveillance.
Is there a place for security to keep an eye on all of that video?
Yes, there is. There's a room built into the administration wing. It's actually a protected room, so that in the event of an emergency, someone could actually run the situation from there.
We also have an SRO.
Assigned to the building, yeah. And that's his office, or hers. There's a question here.
Your classrooms, or any room, teaching, but the sun comes this way, that side of the building is really hot. Do teachers have the option of, picking the heat, or is it just standard and you can't open windows, and so therefore you
So the windows will be fixed in this building, and that's really in assistance to the mechanical system. It's very important to not have humidity in the building when you run an active chilled beam as your mechanical system. But there will be controls, which again, it's going to be up to the district how that's run. And who can access the controls, but usually within like 3 degrees up and 3 degrees down, the individuals can have control.
So can I just ask real quick, off of her question, are there shades? Like if there's too much sun coming in?
Yes, absolutely. There are shades in every room.
And the windows do have a glazing on them, so that the ones that are up high and whatnot are going to be a little bit darker. The other thing about that is it makes it a little bit more difficult for anyone to see into the rooms to see what's going on from outside.
That's a good idea.
There's also a clear film or clear gas, low E glass gas in between the two panes of window glass. So the high performance building system that's required by Connecticut also requires us to have a certain level of insulative value on all of the exterior walls, and the windows do contribute to that.
Can I have one question? Too. In terms of, the Promethean boards that we have at the high school, what type of AV equipment will be in the classrooms? Is that part of your job, or?
So in this portion of the project, we've designed in the infrastructure for the technology. So that will be bid and be built by the contractors. And then in the next phase of our design work, we'll discuss with your personnel the AV technology that they want to implement for this school. So we understand that the district uses Prometheum right now, but when the school opens, we want to make sure that we're using the technology that you'd like then. Yeah.
I think.
Yep. I have a question. Just looking at the design of the entrance coming in from Groton and the entrance coming in from Fitch, thinking of it from a security aspect, 3 large buildings looking at almost 4,000 people, students, staff, on one corner of the whole town on one hill, using 2 major arteries going in and out. If there wasn't ever an emergency evacuation, my concern is effectively getting people off of that quarter of the town, considering staff, students of 3 buildings, using 2 major arteries, so now you're overlapping there. That's a bit concerning to me a little bit, that's 3 schools in one area. It's kind of a lot going on. I
can let someone from the town talk about the site. We were given the site when we were hired, but I can say that
I know. I don't even go back to that. I'm just looking at is there any thought into?
Oh yeah,
well,
there is considerable thought.
There's a thought, and I think you will be sharing buses,
Right.
so the convenience to evacuate students will be better.
If you look at the way the building's constructed, along with the Grassotech, Grasso Tech now has another means of egress from Grasso Tech School. They could either go down the hill, up the hill through the high school if there happens to be an emergency. If we have an emergency at the middle school, they can go down the hill, they can go through the high school. There's that, plus when you get out on Groton Long Point Road or Route 1, you've got two directions to go out on Route 1. So a traffic study was conducted. They looked at the traffic. We still need to get approval from the state, which we don't think is going to be an issue. But they looked at the traffic counts, and they're not significantly higher than what they are right now.
One of the things that you may not be aware of at the moment is there is a plan for both the high school and the middle school to start at approximately the same time. So there'll be one less wave of buses traveling the roads, saving somewhere on the order of, what, $100,000 a year in buses. So that's one of the pluses of having these co-localized. It'll make your mornings a whole lot easier as parents.
Talking about these being evacuating from them, the schools are designed to be areas of refuge for a hurricane or something. They're built to withstand that type of situation.
There's somebody.
Yep, I got two.
And then but I would like to give you voices.
It's just going to your point about the buses. Are we going to have sixth graders on the same buses as seniors in high school? I hope not.
Potentially, which would allow the high school kids to start later. That's one of the driving forces. But we really have to do a demographic study. I certainly don't. That would be my dream, but I'm not sure we could actually do that. But that would be one aspect that we would take a look at.
You'd have many thankful high schoolers if you started later.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I also think it's a plan that we haven't, the board ourselves haven't even grappled with. So to kind of have a long conversation about that seems a little bit premature to the conversation.
Oh, no, I just said the potential. I didn't say it was.
Just want to say that.
Just to be careful.
I looked around and even myself, I can't see myself. Like, we haven't even had that thought process yet, so.
That's okay. My question was whether we'd all be moving up to the early high school time, so.
Oh, well, we anticipate your questions.
I am extremely fearful of that.
We are with you on that.
Yes, absolutely.
I just wanted to ask about technology aspect and the Wi-Fi throughout the building. I assume it's going to be hardened and everyone's going to have a really good signal no matter what part of the building they're in?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
All right, I have a question. After 5.5 months of looking at this building, what do you folks think about the design?
It's gorgeous. It's wonderful.
Very nice.
What's nice is that it blends well with what the Fitch's addition is.
Yes.
And so it really gives the campus feel, so I'm sure that was intentional, but it really does help to really kind of show that we have a campus. Because a lot of it, when I looked at it, I'm like, why aren't they giving us a picture of the Fitch building? And then I looked and I realized it wasn't. So I'm very appreciative of that. I love the idea of how much how you incorporated the first and second floor. So we do have two kind of distinct entrances. And I love the ability of the fact that we have a full-size gymnasium, and for those of us who are in rec and always looking for spaces and stuff, I'm very appreciative of that. Also on the other side, I am really appreciative of the design, drama, music spaces, because we just have an incredible music program on all levels, our elementary, middle school, and high school, and for that to allow to continue to flourish is exciting.
I think it's beautiful.
I just get to weigh in. to have a softball field on campus is a huge factor, as far as I'm concerned. We ship our softball team all the way across town, and the Black Box Theater, well, we talked about this for hours. We just think it's terrific. And if you notice, the Black Box Theater opened up to a stage, and the stage opens up to the auditorium, and the auditorium opens up to the band room. So that was very intentional, and the architects worked really hard, because we started with chiclets, and we were moving stuff around all over the place. And the fact that it's only been 5.5 months is really a testament. And there was a little bit of a hiatus in there, if I remember correctly. So to start and stop and go, I think it's just a really remarkable, great job.
One of the things that they've done a phenomenal job with is allowing for flexible use of some of these rooms. I mean, as you heard, the STEM classrooms could be used as science classrooms. There's a movement studio that can be used for yoga, that could be used for dance, that could be used for any of a number of gymnastics capabilities. There's just unbelievable flexibility in the spaces that have been designed here.
Jane?
It's such an opportunity for middle school kids working with,
It's going to be cut on the cable. It almost might be better.
The camera's in the way. Whatever. There's such an opportunity for the middle school kids and high school kids to be working together. It's developing a broader community of learners. So it might be drama, it might be music. It's just such an opportunity to expand learning and the ability to get along with each other and support each other in terms of age groups.
The same could be said for the faculty too, because you could have all sorts of interesting interactions.
Yeah. We want them to get along.
Well, and you just mentioned that at our art exhibit, a few parents had come up to me and talked about things like a fencing club at the middle school, robotics, and just imagine that we could actually grow pathways, in this setting. I think the thing that, being part of this process, one of the things we were talking about is efficiencies. Like the cafeteria is usually empty except for lunchtime. It's such a waste of space. Gyms are usually used, full throttle. But we really looked at opportunities to use our space, our classrooms, our open space all the time during the day. So I think it really, was a good process, and I think that we were creative with those efficiencies.
I have one. Could you explain to me the pathway from the middle school to the high school? How wide is it? Is it paved?
It's a tunnel.
It's a tunnel?
No.
A shuttle. We could get Elon Musk in.
There is a sidewalk alongside of the driveway, and it's 6 feet wide? 6 feet wide.
Okay.
The driveway for cars is a full two-way driveway.
Oh, great.
But the 6 feet is the sidewalk. I'm sorry.
That's
I didn't
great.
recognize what you were asking.
I just wanted to say, for me, the thing that excites me is to see Groton all under one building like it should be. Growing up here and having 3 middle schools at one point and seeing the demographics, the diversity and the social economic separations was so dynamic that I'm excited to see all that under one roof and seeing one strong PTO in Groton in the middle schools. Excited to see all the resources pooled into one building. So what this building brings to me is hope for Groton and that chance for students to get together at an earlier point in the academic spectrum before they get to the high school. One of the other positive things that I saw on this diagram was the color per floor, really thinking of children with special needs, getting off and realizing, some people relate to color and things like that. I thought that was really genius in doing that. So this brings hope to me, I think, for the town. I think it's long overdue.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I know that you guys have your timeline, but just to remind the board, so if you leave here and you are up in the middle of the night and go, wow, I have a really important question, probably don't call Dr. Grenier at 2 o'clock in the morning, but jot down and that your questions, and so that he could then get the answers to. He might have them, or he might contact these fine folks about that, so that we can have another discussion about it next week. And that we can also, before we go to vote on the 7th, we can have another discussion before the vote. So once again, this is probably going to be our time to look at the designs, unless there's enough burning questions that people have that we need to have. Maybe Bob and Rick come back with the designs and just to kind of have us have another conversation. So once again, this is not going to be our only exposure. We're going to be talking about it next week. But if you have questions in between, please make sure that you get your questions to Dr. Grenier so that we can get answers, so that that can enrich our conversation. And then on the 7th, once again, from the 17th to the 7th, if you've got questions, let's get them to Dr. Grenier, and we'll go back and we'll have a vote. And it looks like that's our piece, which is on the 7th. And I'll let you guys go from there, because that ain't me.
So before I turn it over to Bob, I just want to say thank you for the
No,
opportunity.
this has been great, thank you.
And thank you for all the positive comments. We're really excited, and we can't wait for the groundbreaking ceremony.
And as far as the questions go, if you can filter them through Dr. Grenier at some point, and you can either get them to me or Jack. We're co-located there at the site, so we'll.
I think we're going to follow. Yeah,
appropriate.
I think we're going to follow protocol, and that I'm going to ask for Dr. Grenier to them to the funnel through the superintendent's office.
Yeah,
and the
that's what I
chief.
just said.
Yep.
Yep.
I think, I just think that.
Okay, and on behalf of the Permanent School Building Committee, I've got to thank all of you, because I'm just flabbergasted that so many of you came to see this. I'm really psyched about that. Thank you, thank you. Going forward, we're going to be at town planning tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night, yeah.
And assuming that we have answered all their questions. As you pointed out, on January 7th, the board will have its chance to vote to approve the building as they've seen it so far. And then following that, on the 10th, the Permanent School Building Committee will certify to the town that the plans do meet the requirements. The plan will be presented to the Office of School Construction Grants and Review, or OSCR as we call him. And if they find it appealing and approve it, that will authorize the town to go ahead and bid this project. That will occur sometime between the 1st and the 15th and the 25th of January. We'll put bids out as soon as we hear from the state that we can do that, and theoretically, contractors will be mobilizing and construction will begin on the 25th of March. This is one tight schedule, guys.
Sometimes it takes me 2 months to get out of my house, so, and I don't have a big place. So, wow. So if there are no further questions, I'm going to give us 5 minutes if you guys want to see the beautiful photographs. But then I would like us to come back like in the 5 minutes, and then we're going to finish the rest of our meeting and be done. Thank you. And also, once again, thank you to all of the town people, from our other colleagues, from our other RTM and the town councils, and our town manager. Thank you for coming. It was really good to see you all. Thank you.